Hey guys, today the last video about the F4 CORSAIR. The next project is already being realized. It has brought me from the air to the ground and will depict the German Puma infantry fighting vehicle in 1/35 scale, but one thing at a time. The F4 is finished so far. We still have to do some minor work on the propeller, the landing flaps and oil and exhaust trails to give the model finishing touches. Of course, we also have to give the propeller the necessary signs of wear, so we proceed as already shown in the other videos with the chipping variant using liquid chipping fluid from AK or MIG. First apply a primer. I prefer black or dark shades as a primer. Then a layer of metal lacquer followed by a thin layer of chipping fluid. Remember to add a little water to the fluid to soften the effect and prevent too much chipping too quickly. After applying the last layer of paint, wet the propeller tips with warm water and an old brush to reactivate the chipping fluid. The more water and pressure, the greater the chipping. The flaps and landing gear doors are usually the things that you tend to put off and end up installing because the risk of something breaking off or getting lost is simply too great. The covers are often too small that you have to think about how or what is the best way to paint them. Leaving them on the casting tree is a bad idea, as you will always see the joints when you want to cut out the components after painting. I therefore decided to glue the components to masking tape after sanding, paint them, turn them over after drying, and thus be able to paint all sides evenly. As you will also need the colors and color variation of the fuselage for the flaps, it is advisable to keep the respective color mixture for base color and highlights to avoid color deviations. Simply keep a pair of old paint cups from Tamiya or AK, wash them out with isopropanol alcohol, and thus have enough paint available for the entire project. There is nothing worse than the flaps looking different to the model afterwards, so mix and store enough paint in good time. After you have painted everything, you must of course also attach the flats. This can be a little bit tricky from time to time, as fixing with plastic adhesive can also cause the paint to come off in some places and leave unsightly stains. In the meantime, I have therefore switched to use super glue for such jobs, because you don't have to hold the parts in position forever and there's no glue residues to deal with. But remember, the parts have to sit exactly where they belong quickly. Although you have already carried out the first weathering steps in the other videos, weathering also means breathing life into the model in several steps. Therefore, traces of fuel or oil and traces of exhaust fumes are important aspects to consider when building a scale model. Due to the paints and the weathering products, you also have to take longer drying times into account, which do not always allow a new step to be taken immediately. Now I want to show you how to create spilled liquids. I decided to use oil paints to create these effects. Oil paints give you enough time and control to achieve the desired result, from my point of view, in the best way. I spent a long time researching the exhaust traces. There are countless variants and possibilities. For my purpose, I mixed a dark color mixture from the colors shown here in the appropriate mixing ratio and applied it in thin layers with an airbrush. To create more contrast, I lightened this mixture again to create beautiful exhaust trails. But always remember that the air flows around the fuselage, so think beforehand about where you want which color. Therefore, it's also advisable to use reference pictures here just to make sure that the exhaust traces are not too dark or too many traces in one place. if you have now completed everything, your F4 CORSAIR model should be ready. You can see my final result here. I think it's a quite impressive model. I like it. Some things could be better. Some things are really great, but it's also, for me, it's also a process of learning. And yeah, I would be happy about a comment and a subscription. Have fun, guys. Happy modeling, and see you next time with the Puma.